This is a curious building. But we can't investigate it. We might have murdered those gentlemen for nothing. Well, it does thin the ranks of the guard a bit. It seems rather ominous. Ominously significant. Alright, well, we've sated our curiosity. We can move forwards again. We need to meet the gentleman we saved around here and treat more citizens. There he is, Cadogan Bates.
Good evening, sir. Do you remember me?
If you're here for a reward, you'll be sorely disappointed. But I'll gladly shake the hand of a fellow countryman.
I'm not here for a bounty. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed from the Pembroke.
A little thanks wouldn't go amiss, though.
Whitechapel, what an opportunity. My name's Bates, Cadogan Bates.
Do you require assistance, Mr. Bates?
Not me, but your skills could help a lot of people round here. That would help my business, because I say, a live tenant's a paying tenant.
What a nasty little man you are. Oh. We're treating you for this cold, so you're not spreading it to others.
Since I took an oath to help people,
Exactly.
can I be of assistance?
Well, seen better days, that's for sure. But it was bound to happen with all these refugees about.
Alright. Don't go pointing the finger at the innocent. You're damn lucky I took this Hippocratic oath. Here.
Infecting you is probably the last thing on these people's minds. Take this, in any case.
What? You give me this for free? Don't have a clue about this place, do you?
Oh, I do. I'm just a much better man than you are. You are awful cheerful for somebody who's also so miserable regarding other people.
It's unusual to see someone so happy around here, especially considering the current situation.
Why should I be sad now? There've always been wars, disease, tragedy. There always will be.
That's an unusual way of seeing things in these trying times.
I don't see why I should shed a tear for another man's woes. I'm healthy, and I intend to stay so.
It's called empathy. And just because you intend to stay healthy doesn't mean you're going to stay healthy. And when you're ill and downtrodden, you probably want somebody to have a little empathy for your situation. What is your business, exactly? You're a landlord preying upon refugees, that's what I gather.
What is your business, exactly?
I offer fair lodgings for a modest price to the poor and weary of Whitechapel.
I see. And what about those who cannot pay?
Well, deals can be done, if you know what I mean. Money's not the only currency. After all, I'm not immune to a pretty face.
Oh, you wretched, wretched creature. You're taking advantage of them. You are a repellent individual, but you are taking advantage of them.
In other words, you take advantage of these poor lost souls.
Begging your pardon, I thought you was a man who could appreciate the complexity of the modern world. Things ain't just black and white, you know.
Oh, they're pretty black and white when it comes to you, I can tell you that. So, if I wasn't conscious about drinking more people, you would be next. And how am I going to help your quote-unquote business? I'm not helping any of your exploitation.
What help could I possibly be to your business?
That's simple. I already get good money from all those fleeing the war. Can you imagine what they'd be willing to pay if I could offer medical assistance too?
It's a shame you can't.
Do not make me regret saving your life in this quarantine zone.
I understand, Dr. Reed, you're from a good family. Don't want to get your hands dirty. That's fine. I'll be happy to act as your middleman.
Don't you dare. I do not want such a despicable, dubious associate.
If I were entering into the world of street medicine, it would be on my terms and without such dubious associates as yourself, Mr. Bates.
So it's a no then. That's too bad. The Reed tonic could have really helped people, you know, saved lives. Isn't that what you do? I mean, people buy that Swamburer's shit.
And I'm not going to stoop to his level. What are your thoughts on London's situation, dare I ask?
Tell me, what's your honest opinion of the increasing violence in London?
People are just beginning to discover what we've always known. This city's rotten to the core. They just took their bloody time to wake up and notice it.
What do you mean?
People are acting like the violence is news. But it's always been savage down here. It just bubbles to the surface every now and again.
Well, I can't say you're wrong about that. Do you still think about your attack? Has it humbled you in any meager way?
You seem to have recovered well since your attack. Do you ever think about what happened to you?
Not much. It was a fucking nightmare. Savages, absolute bloody savages. Their appearance. Jesus. Made me want to puke.
You'd better not come back here. I won't be around next time to save you.
And I might not next time if you're going to go putting yourself in danger like that. Right. Tell me, is there anything you can tell me about the current situation in Whitechapel?
How are conditions in Whitechapel at present?
The way this sickness is spreading, I don't think there'll be enough new bloods to replace those tenants I'm losing from this bloody thing.
Oh, you miserable wretch. Right, we're done. Thank you.
Goodbye, Mr. Bates.
We're spending another moment speaking to him. Now, who did we need to treat? Oh, I can't remember. Ah, yes. His son. Or not. Not your son. Oh, I think it must be... Right, Harry Peterson. That's the son I'm thinking of. And Christina Poper. Right, we've finished treating people in this area. So it's time to head to the docks and speak to the gentleman we saved. Oh! Oh, I didn't see you on the Fletcher's leash. Let's just get these ones down. Let's have a drink. And I'll have a drink of you too. For the healing, more than anything. Perfect. Now, is it this way? Yes, I do actually need to go through Whitechapel again. I could have avoided that. Well, we're going to try and find the notebook. If it's outside of the theatre, that is. If we can discover that notebook, take it back to Usher, we'll get more experience. Because I am going to rest once more before we fight Doris Fletcher. I feel like I'm going to need all the strength I can get to tackle that beast.
Best be on your way home.
Well, I'm afraid not. We have to fight the pre-wing guards. Oh, hello. Don't like the look of you lurking there. Sugar. Ow. You can, and you will. Ow. Get that bloody staff off of me. Oh. Oh, that's going to be the very bright light. Oh, don't come any closer. Thank God he can't sustain it. Let's have a drink. Ow. There we go. Any sign of a journal? Lock that. Have a drink. Oh, I'll tell you what, there's a leash. Just get it out there. Ow. I want to finish that, gentleman. Oh. Let's have a bite. Oh, careful. I tell you what I haven't used yet. The ability that I invested quite a lot of blood into. And I'm beginning to wonder if I made a mistake. Where is... That's it. It's here. Blood Cauldron. We're going to have to give that a go. Now, did either of you have this notebook? There is one more guard in the area, is there? There is. Over here. If only you made better life choices and not joined the guard.
I will
Now,
return at a more convenient time.
you would return at a more convenient time. Return where? I'm beginning to suspect the whole journal might actually be within the theatre. Do we... Let's go have an investigate, because we don't actually have to fight her when we go in. We can have a wander through
I cannot enter.
and see if we can find any unfortunate
It's
pre-wen.
locked, all right.
Oh. I can't get in. Wait. Oh, so that's why I was saying to myself I'll return at a more convenient time. But I came out the front last time. What's... Just written flu over a sign. Check what's in this box. Can I get through the front of the theatre now? Because I feel like I've been locked out. And if they're not going to invite me in, that could be a problem. Don't mind me. Okay, panic averted. Let's try out our new ultimate ability. Oh! Oh. Okay, right, that's an interesting one. It might be more useful against single targets rather than crowds. I gotta get out of that cloud. Ow. Oh, come on. Cat. Ow, come on. Right, let's just calm down. I hate these things with a passion. Get some blood back. Get away from her when she explodes. There we go. I'm less hopeful that I'm going to find Prue Garden here. But we will scout nonetheless. Old Doris Fletcher's diary. 17th of August, 1918. I saw her in the flesh. The witch from my childhood nightmares. The bitch that tortured me for years. I saw her, and I shivered. Her voice, her face. I knew she was in that hospital. I knew she was sick, and I wanted to witness her suffering. I may have reinvented myself, become a famous actress, erased those wicked years from my memory. I can't forget. I'm her daughter. When I saw her frail body in that small bed, suffering, sick, defeated, I had to hide my tears, for she was looking at me. She recognized me. She saw the hate in my eyes, and she smiled. My pale corpse of a mother. And the worst thing was I felt no satisfaction seeing her in so much pain. The worst was not to suddenly remember the beatings and the abuses. No, the worst was to recognize the hate I felt in my heart when she looked at me, for it was the same hate I saw in hers. For in the end, I can't escape being her daughter. We are the same, my mother and I. Wait. That was it, Harriet Jones, the Skull from Pembroke Hospital who fled with Sean Hampton. Oh, she is Doris Fletcher's mother. Tell me you can think of another foul, hate-filled woman sick in a hospital, and that will explain where she contracted the disease. Okay, that I wonder who contracted it from who. I'm going to assume she gave it to her mother. Oh, curse of vampirism. Oh, I hate these things. There we go. Oh, get away. Right.
It's locked.
Still no sign of any pre-wen guard. And this is close to where I originally came in. I think that door's
I cannot enter.
been sealed up now as well. We might just have to leave and return once we've evolved. Yeah. Right, let's make a move for the docks. That's where I'm going to get the last of my experience and speak to the gentleman I saved. Now, we need to treat Rufus. Ah, here he is, Archer Woodbead. And we needed to find Archer Woodbead as well. I was going to follow that up with.
Good evening, sir. I'm amazed you made it back to the docks alone. Good for you.
Well, I could say the same about you, young man. More to the point, who the hell are you?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
And I am Archer Woodbead. Please excuse my assertiveness. I often forget I'm just an old prune.
Well, okay, I forgive you. You do seem a little more tolerable than when we first met. You do need treatment. No, you don't need a treatment. Oh, tell me about your life in London. What can you tell me about this part of town? You said something about the Wet Boot Boys that implied you were once a member, if you aren't still a member.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
People used to feel safe around here. They had the gangs protecting them. Now all they do is bicker and plot against one another.
What, the people or the gangs? It does really sound like you miss the quote-unquote good old days.
Missing the good old days, are you not?
Trust me, son. The longer you live, the less meaning your existence will have. You need to remember the days you still had beliefs.
Or still live with beliefs, maybe. What about the gangs? How have they changed over the years?
And what about the gangs?
Back in my day, people trusted the Wet Boot Boys. We looked out for the docks and its families. Nowadays, they're just a bunch of greedy fuckers.
Oh, so you were?
I was their leader for a time, believe it or not. Now these bastards act like I'm nothing. Not one of them. They owe me some damn respect.
So things changed when Clay Cox took over then? Or at some point before he took over? You must have some stories then about the docks, considering you were briefly the leader.
If you were such a respected figure, surely you have many interesting stories about this part of town.
You bet I do, but make no mistake. I'm no rat, sir. Some secrets are best left buried.
And I'm not asking you to sort of give away everyone's dirty secrets, I'm just generally curious. Anybody around from the old days?
Do you still know anyone? From the old days, I mean.
Most of them are dead. I still give Miss Gillingham salutations.
I need to speak to
She
her
doesn't
too.
remember me. She did once like me. Boy, she was a beauty back then.
You're not going to turn out to be Jack's father, are you? Any remarkable new faces in the area?
Any remarkable new faces around here?
Nobody. Well, there's that boy Rufus the Curse. I like him, despite the reputation he's made since his parents died. Poor little bastard.
Poor guy. I'm curious you like him, but maybe you've got a thing for the downtrodden. Who would you trust in this part of town? Are you going to say Sean?
Who would you trust around here?
The owner of the Turquoise Turtle's a decent fella. Tom's his name. Sean Hampton's all right too. Don't particularly share his religious views. He's quite devout if you catch my meaning.
Then I do. He was very devout. Any strange or weird characters? I imagine you're going to say Rufus again.
I'm sure a district as colourful as the docks must have plenty of stories about strange visitors and creepy characters.
So, you want me to talk about the sewer dog, don't you?
If you don't mind.
The sewer dog is a bitch. Appropriately named. An old woman dressed in rags. She has an elegance, though. despite her ugliness.
Old Bridget.
I saw her once. Scared the life out of me.
Old Bridget is the sewer dog. I would not have guessed that. That's a very unflattering name. I know she's not the prettiest to look at, being a Scarl, but you'd think with her, you know, her bearing, she'd have had a slightly more glamorous name. At least like Sewer Witch rather than Sewer Dog. Tell me, have you always been this bitter?
Have you always been so bitter?
It's not bitterness, it's poorly masked disgust. When everything turns to shit, we all have to eat a spoon or two.
It's a graphic saying, but I might end up using that myself at some point. These are difficult times, but the difficult times never seem to end.
With everything that's happened recently, the war, Spanish flu, I must concede that these are difficult times.
A few nights ago, I saw a kid eating a rat. He was right in front of one of those abandoned houses nearby. Just chewing on a living rat's insides.
Ugh. Must have been a Scarl. What can you tell me about the Wet Boot Boys? Not asking you to divulge any secrets or rat anyone out. I'm just curious.
Tell me about the Wet Boot Boys, Archer. I want to know more.
We were there for the families and each other. It was us against the world. We were vicious, tough, even cruel. But we were united.
You sound like you were some kind of radical union member.
Yes, nowadays the communists and gangs squabble over pointless territory. Sounds stupid when you say it out loud.
And it's territory that really holds no value. It's just what streets do they get to loiter at. The Garda Priwen, you said you were looking for your son, who joined the Garda Priwen.
Tell me everything you know about the Guard of Priwen.
Andrew never told me what they do. I do know they're vigilantes with military training. Access to some impressive firepower.
And what is your personal opinion about the Guard, then?
This Guard of Priwen is just another gang preying on the young and naive. Preying on people like my boy. I know how it works. I invented it.
Curious that your son would join Priwen and not the Wet Boot Boys, given his lineage.
Why did your son really join the Guard of Priwen?
If I believed in a higher power, I'd see this as punishment for my own sins. I deserve it for all the young men I enlisted back in the day.
So, why did he join, other than this sick twist of fate, getting you getting what you deserve?
You don't believe in God, though, do you, Mr. Woodbead? So why did he join?
Now I think about it, Andrew joined the Guard, not to defy me, but to follow in my footsteps, to make me proud.
Poor boy. Is that the explanation he gave?
So your son has left you nothing to explain his actions? No letter or message?
Not even a note. I'm a proud man, Dr. Reed. But I would kneel and pray if I thought it would give me my Andrew back.
Well, I think that's everything we can explore. I will leave you be.
Goodbye, sir.
Now, let's speak with Rufus, treat him. We'll run back to the West End and sleep in our own bed to evolve. Then we will take on Doris Fletcher once more. And last but not least, before we forget yet again, let's go speak to Mrs Gilliam.
Good evening, Miss Gillingham. May I come in?
Of course, of course.
Let's see if we can finally ask her about Jack.
So, Dr. Tippets, what brings you back here? We haven't talked in quite some time.
I don't look that much like Dr. Tippett, surely. You've no idea what happened to your son, do you?
Enid, have you really no idea what happened to your son? No idea at all.
I've not seen Jack for so long. I lose track of time. Has something bad happened to him?
Oh, what do I do? Do I promise he'll come back? Is telling her he takes good care of her implying that he's still here? But I feel like I should tell her the truth. I feel like I should tell her Jack is dead.
Jack is dead, Miss Gillingham.
Of course he's not. I've seen him. Tonight, in fact.
Tonight?
Ever the joker, Dr. Tippets.
Tonight? Is this like my mother and she's confused and speaking to people that aren't there, or somebody impersonating her son? I'm just gonna have to leave you be.
Goodbye, Miss Gillingham.
Well, that seems to have left more mysteries than it solved. Martin Nightingale.
Please, sir. Come and have a gander.
You now I think about it, you had a music box from her house with a note for her son.
Good evening, young man.
There's no need to call me that, Dr. Reed.
Are you impersonating her son?
Goodbye.
There was, now I remember, above her home, there was this empty flat with a gap in the ceiling, or rather the floor, into her home. Maybe if I linger here, an opportunity will present itself. Here we go. What do we have here? Quiet footsteps. Let's not give ourselves away. Come on then, Martin. Let's see what you've been up to. Let's see how you're exploiting this woman.
I'm sorry to say, but you haven't yet paid me for the clock I brought you last time.
The clock? Oh, yes. I found a broken clock in the living room and I couldn't remember where it came from.
You broke it? Ah, that is unfortunate. It was such a beautiful piece of work.
Really? Oh, I'm so clumsy these days. I'm so sorry. How much was it?
This will be enough. I can't make you pay the whole price if it's broken.
That's so kind of you.
How generous.
I'm going to make some tea now.
It will be enough until the next time you forget it, you old bat.
You horrific little shit. Right, let's go have a word with Martin. Ah, well, at least he's not impersonating her son. That's some small comfort. Go on, out you get. Yes, you. What have you been up to, you swindler?
Good evening, young man.
There's no need to call me that.
I'll call you whatever the hell I like, you little thief. You're exploiting Mrs. Gillingham.
It's time to confess, Martin. You've exploited Miss Gillingham's weakness to your own advantage, have you not?
All I've done is smile at her and be kind to her. I've done no other harm than giving her what she needed. This is no crime.
Excuse you? Excuse you? That... If you perceive that as helping her, then your selfishness is fascinating. You've got no maturity. You are... Oh, I mean, he's just given us his excuse. You're making that woman pay for a broken clock over and over and over again.
You really are convinced you did nothing wrong. Young man, you are a fascinating case of shameless selfishness.
You can blame my folks for that. They taught me never to expect nothing from anyone except lies.
So it's bad parenting then? How convenient. Where are your parents?
6 feet under, I suppose. When the flu had weakened my father enough for him to be too weak to punch me, I figured it was time to run away.
I'm not going to blame you for leaving your abusive parents behind, but exploiting Mrs. Gillingham there's no excuse for.
Is that why you let them die of the flu? Because your father was beating you?
When the epidemic started, last summer, I begged them to leave town. Neighbours were dying, houses were looted, but they chose to stay.
Do you have any regrets about what happened?
I haven't got regrets, but sometimes I'd like to make sure they're gone. Dead for good. Like, it helps me sleep.
Then maybe you should go back and check. Alright, I will leave you be. There's nothing more we can talk about. Alright, one last trip to Mrs. Gillingham.
Good evening, Miss Gillingham. May I come in?
Of course, of course.
I don't see any broken clock. Right.
So, Dr. Tippets, what brings you back here?
I feel like this is going to be a lost cause, but you cannot trust Martin Nightingale. He's exploiting you.
Enid, listen to me. You must not trust Martin Nightingale. Do you understand?
Martin reminds me so much of my Jack. I've not seen him here in quite some time.
Martin is not your son, Miss Gillingham. He's taking advantage of you.
No, Martin is not my son. My son's name is Jack. He always takes such good care of me. Who is this Martin you speak of?
Please listen. Martin is a young man who extorts money from you. Because of your vulnerability, miss.
What are you attempting, Dr. Tippets? If this is some kind of new experimental procedure, well, I do not like it one bit.
I'm just confusing and distressing her. At least she's not confusing him for her son. That would be truly horrific. Right, I will leave you be.
Goodbye, Miss Gillingham.
Okay, we tried our best. Let's get to the West End and rest up before everything moves back in.